Good day students, Saira. Welcome to a new class of skill education. In today's class, we are going to start with a new employability skill called communication skills. In our previous lessons, we had learned three other employability skills, that is self-management skills, entrepreneurial skills and green skills. Today we start with communication skills. So let us first understand what is communication. So communication is the exchange of information by signs and signals. Speaking, writing or some other media or a means to is called as communication. So exchanging of information is using any of the signs and signals or even by speaking or reading, writing is called as communication. Sending and receiving and understanding the message or then information. Developing interpersonal skills and to express effectively with maximum efficacy is what is called as communication. So basically we need to send a message to the receiver or an information to the receiver, and how we do it effectively and efficiently using the communication means is what we are going to learn under communication skills. Now, there is something called as a communication cycle. So, let us understand that. Communication cycle is the process by which a message is sent to an individual. It passes through a chain of recipients. The timing and effectiveness of the communication cycle is based on how long it takes for feedback to be received by the initial sender. So, when a particular cycle is there, that is a sender sends a message through some particular media and it is received by the recipient. Now the amount, how effective the communication cycle is depends upon how fast the feedback comes from the person who is receiving the message. So let us look at the different aspects of a communication process cycle. So the components of a communication cycle are: first is the sender, a person or an entity who originates the communication. So a person who sends the message or the organization that sends a message is the originator of the communication. Then there is the actual message, that is the information which the sender wishes to send or convey. Encoding the message, that is how the sender is going to bring the message, send the message to the appropriate person, is what is the encoding. That is whether he will write it or send it by gestures or voice record it or send it by some other media, that is called as encoding. The channel through which the message is sent is the next aspect, that is how this message that is encoded is going to be actually sent, whether it is by written letter, by email, etc. Next is the receiver. The person who actually receives, to whom the message is supposed to be sent to, is called as the receiver of the message. The next is decoding. That means how the receiver interprets and understands that message is called as decoding. And finally, the feedback. That means the actual receiver's response to the message. So these are basically the components of an entire communication cycle. I hope you have understood. That is the sender, the message, the encoder, the medium through which you send it, the receiver, the decoding, and the actual feedback of the message. Next is, let us look at what are the different types of communication. So communication can be of four types, basically: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, visual communication, and written communication. So these are the basic four ways in which we can communicate to our messages to each other. Now, what is verbal communication? Verbal communication is the use of language to transfer or share information by speaking or sign language. This is one of the most important types, often used during presentations, video conferences, phone calls, meetings, or one-on-one conversation. So most of the time our communication with people are through a verbal media. So whenever we, and it is through a language that we share that information, or even it could be sign language that we say, or shoo, or come, or go, like this, whatever it is a verbal communication whereby we are speaking something along with gestures. It is used mostly when we are doing one-on-one communication in meetings, video conferences, during classes, during presentations, conferences. All this is verbal communication. Now, what are the advantages of verbal communication? First is, verbal communication saves a lot of time because it can be quickly understood and said. It saves money because there is no need of paper or any flyers or spellings, nothing like that. So it is very, very quickly. You are just speaking out, so it requires no effort or money. Feedback is very quick because the receiver at that any point of time, if he doesn't understand, can immediately stop you and give the feedback of that message, and also the sender can give immediate feedback. The receiver can when the sender is sending it, looking at the expression of the receiver, he can understand whether the receiver has actually understood the message or no. So it's a very convenient method all over globally to communicate with each other. Next is, it is ease of preparation. So oral communication is the easiest way because you do not need any particular preparations, exclusive preparations to be done while giving an oral communication to one another. It's just like normal speaking. It is a part of your routine. So these are some of the advantages of verbal communication. But there are certain disadvantages also to this verbal communication. The ease with which we do verbal communication, it comes with a lot of disadvantages. First is, there is chances of distortion of the message. So whenever I'm speaking, suppose somebody speaks very fast, or some speaks slow, or some is not legible. So there is a chance that the message actually, which is meaning to be told to another person, gets distorted. Now, if the message is very, very long, that means if some information is very, very long and which needs to be conveyed, then verbal communication is not an easy way to communicate it for long messages. Sometimes when I'm communicating something, the most important part of the message may get lost in some irrelevant information which is put on along with the message. So when we are speaking, so we may beat around. Some people have the habit of beating around the bush. They will not come to the actual point. They will talk about all other things other than the main topic. So irrelevant information can seep into a message. So that is another disadvantage. There can be misunderstandings, especially when people of different languages communicate, or if there is a language barrier among communication, then it becomes very, very difficult because there can be misunderstandings in the actual communication. And also, suppose there is a person who does not understand, for example, on high level government organizations, when there is or even in places where two people do not understand the language, then they might need a third person as an interpreter or a translator to translate the messages to each other. This generally happens during diplomatic ties with countries among each other. So you need to appoint people who are translators or interpreters. So it comes with a particular cost. So these are some of the disadvantages of verbal communication. The next we go on is to non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication is the use of body language and gestures and facial expressions to convey a message to one another. Here there are no words used. It is only using the gestures and facial expressions that you can convey. You try to convey a message to the other person. Now, what are the advantages of non-verbal communication? It is complementary. So, non-verbal communication is basically a complementary to the verbal communication. You generally, sometimes people have the habit of using their eyes, using their hands and gestures to create. When they are talking, they have the habit of moving their arms around or making faces or making expressions with their faces. So, all this is a complementary to the verbal communication. Easy presentation. So information can be easily presented in a non-verbal communication using audio, visuals, silent means of communication, visual. If I don't want to explain anything verbally, I can just show a video of it or an audio. I can play an audio. So that also comes as a part of non-verbal communication. Substitute. Non-verbal communications may substitute verbal communication, especially when there is a lot of blockage of noise or interpreting or long distance or a language barrier. So sometimes when there are a lot of disturbance in the room, and you're trying to shout and tell the students, please keep quiet, or you can just clap or maybe put a finger on the lips. So these are gestures which can be done to, instead of giving a verbal communication. Also, it can be during a time when there is a lot of noise in the room, or when there is a language barrier between people, or there's long distance and you want to call somebody. If a person is standing very far away and you want to call him, then you can just clap and call the person, come here, like this. So this is called as, so it can substitute verbal communication in certain places. Also, it reduces time and wastage. The message on a non-verbal communication reaches the very much more faster. So non-verbal cues like signs, symbols, etc. are very quickly understood more than written communication. So these are some of the advantages of doing non-verbal communication. But some of disadvantages are also there. That maybe it is very vague, and imprecise. So non-verbal communication can be pretty vague at times because you do not know what the other person may actually not understand what you are meaning with those gestures and facial expressions. It is continuous. It is possible to stop talking in verbal communication, but it's generally not possible when you are giving some non-verbal cues. For example, if you are playing a video and a person does not understand it, or an audio, the person is not, so you can't stop it in the middle and this thing, because it is continuous. It cannot be stopped. Now, multi-channels. While watching someone's eyes, you may miss out on something very significant which he's doing with his hand. So he may tell something he may show an anger on his face, but he may be very pleased and clapping. So, then it can be a multi-channel and everything is happening at once. So sometimes you may miss out on particular cues which are given to you. So that becomes a big problem in non-verbal. Then it's culture bound. It means that some gestures which are positive in certain cultures, like the thumbs up gesture in US, maybe is considered as very bad in some other cultures. Like, many of the things are there which we Indian nod. They say that we have something which is very important, which is called as the Indian nod. The Indians, they nod like this. So the people do not understand whether sometimes they will do like that, sometimes they will do like this. So that is called as an Indian nod. And they also do like this. This is also there. So many cultures, they do not understand what this type of nodding means. So this is a very specific thing. So because generally everybody says yes like this and no like this, but Indians keep on shaking their head like this way, this way. So this is something which is culture bound, which becomes a big problem. Long conversations are not at all possible with non-verbal communications. So it is long conversations are necessarily, you cannot explain it with the help of non-verbal communication, long conversations. So these are some of the disadvantages of non-verbal communication. So with that, we come to the end of this session of communication skills. In our next classes, we are going to learn about what is the importance of body language and what are the factors that affect communication in an organization. And also, we are going to look at the importance of grammar, the English grammar in communications. Thank you.